Hi, this is Dr. Pike again. This is Chapter 12, Influencing and Inspiring Others. And this is from your text, Leading with Communication by Gamble and Gamble. The course is LDR350, and this is Week 7. Beyond Power, the Credibility Factor. Credibility defined the follower's assessment of competence, trustworthiness, dynamicness or dynamicism, or charisma of a leader. Credibility is in the eye of the beholder and is not objective. It's based on the attitudes of the receivers to a source. Leaders do not determine if they do or do not have credibility. The ancient Greeks studied the oratory skills of leaders and linked their authority to influence others, to members of the public, judging them to be of high moral character, intelligent, and skilled at weaving logos, pathos, and ethos. And these are the logical arguments, emotional appeals, and personal attributes. And these were all part of their presentations. If you look at Aristotle, Plato, or Cicero, who published a number of volumes on oratory skills, these were skilled speakers, and they were able to influence others through those skills. Leaders can get caught in all kinds of credibility traps. One is because they need to appeal to members of different public, stockholders, employees, or customers, for example. Leaders need to be sure that what they say or promise to one group does not conflict with what they promise another. Sometimes there can be a failure of character or consistency, and this contributes to the downfall of many leaders. Expertise and relationships are the foundation of credibility that will cause followers to stay with a leader, but breaks in those will cause them to go away. People are more likely to follow leaders they think they know what they are doing and to whom they are attracted. Leaders can enhance perception of their credibility by becoming a subject matter expert, by earning special certifications, and picking the best team that you can. Acquiring star power is what they call enhancing your personal credibility. Actions of leaders can boost perceptions of their credibility by a number of ways. They help followers perceive your credibility by revealing to them life experiences that they may share and identify with. They acknowledge your ties to other groups that they support and distance themselves from those that the group may call into question. Clothing and dress. This can be conveyed through professional attire, business type attire, workman's clothing. It just depends on the audience that the leader is trying to access and influence. They tell you to walk the walk and talk the talk. Look people in the eye. Use language that is clear, direct, and doesn't have any jargon. You want to communicate your passion, emotional intensity, and commitment, both verbally and non-verbally, to whatever you're trying to convey. Your demeanor as well as your words should convey that you welcome responses and you're open to ideas. You want to seek feedback to prove you know how to listen and respond in kind. Consistently deliver messages that express common values and goals. Demonstrate your ability to act on your principles and reference them when making decisions. Remind others that everyone shares in the responsibility for the group's direction and outcome. Leaders must be adept at presenting and also defending their causes. They need to define an argumentative situation by stating the problem in a form of a claim or proposition of fact. Focus on what is or what is not. You want to convey value. You want to focus on the issues of righteousness or wrongness, or you want to adhere to policy. Focus on the potential causes of action. Examine the proposition and develop arguments in support of or in opposition to it. Communicate and defend your position. Focus on points of controversy and reason ethically. Refrain from faulty reasoning that can subvert an argument. Name-calling, putting out a red herring, which is sending them on some sort of wild goose chase. It only serves to sidetrack an issue. When you do this, you can create false division, offering only two choices when there are more. If you identify a false cause, and this is part of the goose chase that we were speaking about before, or using bandwagon appeal. And this is when everybody comes together. It's similar to groupthink, and when everybody comes together and they try to favor your point while excluding all others. Beyond my way, the your way factor. To build your persuasiveness as a leader, look at your goal from the perspective of your receivers. Rely on both reason and emotion to build your case. By understanding experiences, cognitive needs, and emotional states, you'll better be able to adopt a strategy that gets you to the yes that you're seeking. Robert Cialdini, excuse me if I butchered that, he is a persuasion expert, and he stated that leaders have 6 persuasive power tools. Reciprocity, and this is when people share resources with us or provide some resources to us. They likely have the expectation at some point in the future that we might do something for them or give something back to them. Commitment and consistency. Gaining a commitment from others increases their consistency tendencies. Once a commitment is made, it is more likely that followers will agree to requests. Social proof. People are persuaded by each other. We look to each other to determine what to think, what to do, and what is right. We follow the lead of those whom we respect. Liking. We are more persuaded by people whom we like. Leaders therefore try to increase their attractiveness and likability. Authority. Many feel strong pressure to comply with authority. Symbols of authority, whether they be titles, dress, etc., can be used to induce compliance. Scarcity. The more we think we might lose something, the more we want it. Negotiating to succeed. When people are not cooperating with the leader, he or she needs to learn why. Leading an organization is not a my way thing. Never forget, the leader cannot do it alone. Whenever interdependent individuals do not share identical preference, they negotiate to determine what each is to give and take. The leader needs to frame this in such a way that people will cooperate and collaborate for joint gains and achieve optimal outcomes. In order to negotiate effectively, a leader needs to understand the underlying needs, interests, and objectives of those he or she has to negotiate with. A leader needs to keep the big picture as well as both perspectives in mind in this process. We try to accomplish buy-in. Buy-in is when everybody comes together and there's a commonality to further or advance a goal. It differs from groupthink in that it is productive and is not detrimental to the overall group. In this process, a leader must actively promote the sharing of interests, discuss perceptions, and brainstorm possible agreements. Then all parties can commit moving forward together to avoid the common pitfalls of negotiation. And those pitfalls can include judging prematurely, asserting there is a single answer, acting as if the pie is to be divided is fixed rather than expandable, being short-sighted in defending partisan positions, defending the status quo for its own sake. In the Harvard Negotiation Project, they conceptualized principled negotiation, which turns a leader into a problem solver rather than an adversary. They learned to separate people from the problem. And instead of focusing on positions, they explored interests. Before making a decision, they generated an array of possibilities. They decided on objective criteria on which to base a result. Leaders and charisma. Charisma is in the eye of the beholder. Supporters attribute it to leaders they judge to be inspiring, who use emotional appeals and put forth bold visions. Charismatic leaders capitalize on three core communication strengths. They know how to build relationships. Being in their presence excites their followers. They are adept at creating symbolic visions that inspire followers to imagine a more desirable future. And they are skilled agents of influence. Leaders can have positive effects when their goal is to have followers internalize the values inherent to their mission. Leaders who are effective at communicating their vision to followers and who share success and decision-making with followers build organizations that should be able to thrive long after they step down. This is the conclusion of Chapter 12 and on to Chapter 13. Thank you for staying with me.